Your YouTube world is the purest gold. With every video fresh and new, you light my days with joy so true. Oh, Vicky Maria, your voice, your charm, your spark, your flair, keep me glued beyond compare. From laughs to lessons, all you share. No line so rare, the comments buzz, your fans agree. We're all here for your energy. A loyal crowd, you're ahead of the game. So here's my thanks from me to you for all the fun and wisdom too. Keep creating, stay the same. Vicky Marie, you've won the game. The comments buzz, your fans agree. We're all here for your energy. A loyal crowd, you're ahead of the game. So here's my thanks from me to you for all the fun and wisdom too. Keep creating, stay the same. Vicky Marie, you won the game. Yeah, creating, stay the same. Vicky Marie, you've won the game.
It's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. So I managed to upload an introduction video. Sorry, it's a bit glitchy. Everything I do on this computer is glitchy. It's not the internet, it's the computer. Anyway, we'll get there. If my car would stop breaking down and things like that, I would be there already. But anyway, I'm nearly there. Okay, so I just want to wish you all, as I say, a good morning, a good afternoon, or a good evening. I hope you're all well. I hope you're all coping okay in this mad world. It's just gets madder every day, isn't it? Honestly, literally, the last couple of days, I've seriously considered just taking a complete break from social media because it's too depressing, everything, isn't it? If it's not wars. And then there seems to be a lot of unresolved cases at the moment. And like Nancy Guthrie, we still don't know anything. And then this case, at least David, I will not call him DV4D or whatever he's called. I'll call him VD. But I'm not calling him that ridiculous name that he's made for himself, pretentious twat he is. Sorry, excuse my French. Berkey, I like to call him because that's his real name, isn't it? David Burke, and he is a complete Burke. So although that's good that he's been arrested and it looks like he's going to be held to justice, every new bit of information that comes out is so depressing, so sad what he did to Celeste and everybody in happened. It was happening in plain sight. He was writing about it in his songs. He was, virtually talking about it. People knew about her, knew she was underage, and nobody did anything. Nobody cared. It's like nobody cared about Celeste. So very sad, isn't it? And then there's another couple of cases that are going on that I can't even report on. I've been following them, but just can't report on them. That's, of course, the case of Athena Strand. That's the court case that's going on at the moment, but that's so distressing. Shh. And then there's a case in the UK of an adopted baby who was red rummed by his adoptive fathers, two fathers, and died as a result. I can't report on that either. I've posted about it. Go away a minute, Riley, go away. So, yeah, so it's all been a bit like that, hasn't it? But what I'm going to talk about today is David, in this case about Celeste, because the details, that are coming out is so good that he has finally been arrested. But yeah, it's all a bit upsetting, isn't it? So anyway, first of all, I just want to say thank you to you all. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Don't forget to leave your DNA on the like button and the subscribe button, your fingerprint or your DNA. And don't forget to press the notification bell, because that way you get notifications of videos that are coming up, hopefully. I was a little bit late today, I had to pop out, but yeah, to get your notifications. So hello, you lovely lurkers. Thank you for watching. Hello to replay crew. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much. And let's see who's in the chat. Let me come into the chat and see if anyone's in the chat. Hey, Lily. So Lily's off out, but she thought she'd pop in and say hi and click the like. Thank you, Lily. Hi, Daniel. Good morning. Yes, happy Friday. Another Friday. Hi, Tracy. And Mark. Hi, Mark. Yeah, do you know, I was thinking that, Mark. Haven't seen my angel Alfie for a while. Hope she's okay. But maybe it's just the times I've been doing the lives, because maybe she's been at work or what have you. So, yeah, anyway, yeah, hope she's okay. If you are watching, just put us a little thing in, just say that you're okay. Of course, you could try and get her on the Discord, Mark. I know I don't really go into the Discord, so it's not been used much, has it? But she is in the Discord, isn't she? So you might be able to send her a message there on the Discord. So, yeah, what about this David then? This David one. No, it's the more you think about this case, it's just, what, I know they're all difficult. All these true crime cases are difficult to comprehend, aren't they, really? But there's something about this one because, this guy, I think he's 21 now. So he's quite young himself. I didn't realise he was as young as that, because I thought he looked older, to be honest. I think he looks older. Let's put a picture of him up. So this is him now. This is his mugshot. He's 21 now, I believe. And he looks very different from how he looked, how he looks in his sort of promotional type, his promotional type photos. These other two photos here. You've got what I call him in his Harry Styles look, in his grandma's blouse on the left, and then on the right, like a sinister version of Sideshow Bob, with his Sideshow Bob look from The Simpsons. I forgot to say thank you to my members, and thank you so much, and thank you to those of you who bought me Ko-fis, sent PayPals, etc. Thank you. It's all so much appreciated. Now then, let me I want to take my banner off and I can't find the... So, yeah. So for anyone who maybe doesn't know about this case, I mean, it's if you're into true crime, you'd be struggling not to hear about it because it's been talked about a lot. So this is David, but he pretentiously spells it DV4D or something like that. David Burke. And this guy, I mean, do you know what? This is why I just don't understand why he's sort of risked his whole future. Well, he's not only risked it, he's blown it. I mean, he has no future now. His future is a jail cell for the rest of his life if he's lucky, and possibly the death penalty. Um, but he did quite well. He grew up with humble beginnings over in sort of Hollywood area, isn't it? And apparently he was homeschooled most of his life. I think that explains a lot because he's not really. I think this guy has been very cosseted. Maybe overindulged by his parents. I don't know his parents' situation, but anyway, and I'm not sure why he was homeschooled. Maybe maybe he's got ADHD or autism or something like that. I don't know. Don't know why he ended up being homeschooled, but he said he was homeschooled most of his life. That's what he said. So, do you think that's had any effect on anything? I don't know. Because you when you're trying to find reasons why people do things. Oh God, I was watching the court case for Athena Strand yesterday, and the defence were trying to provide a defence saying that twonk that murdered that poor little girl in his delivery van, that he'd been exposed to a lot of lead, that he'd swallowed 3 pennies or something, or dimes, and he'd been exposed to lead, and that might have affected his mental state. I thought, oh, for fuck's sake, excuse my French, but I've heard it all now. They're always trotting out some reason why. How many people have been exposed to lead? And have just ridiculous. I know the defence has got to defend. That's their job, and if you can find an expert to prove anything if you pay them enough money, can't you? So I don't think that'll have gone down well, though, with the jury. They've just listened to audio of a little girl being murdered, raped and murdered by this guy while he's singing Christmas songs. I don't think they'd be very impressed, the jury, with the fact that it might be lead poisoning that made him a monster. Anyway, so personally, I think it was a mistake to provide that. But what I'm trying to say is this something that David's going to bring into his defence? What? He's pled not guilty. He's pled not guilty, but it has now been released that Celeste, bless her, she was probably, how did they phrase it? They didn't actually say STABBED. They said penetrative wounds. That's right. She had 2 penetrative wounds, one just near her liver and one in her chest, I believe. This poor girl, 14, well, was she 13 when or did she crossed 14 then? How sad, Anyway, so she was his girlfriend, apparently, allegedly. David, he likes the kids, So now we're finding out as well. They have found vast number of child-loving images on his phone as well that he probably thought he'd hidden in the iCloud or whatever. So that's something else. So it's not just Celeste. I mean, he groomed Celeste. It's thought that he probably met her when she was 13, maybe even 12, online, and he groomed her. And then I suppose she got to, as he was starting to get famous, because this guy is a famous singer, and he is, he took off on TikTok. He started off on TikTok, and this is what I mean. You've got to give him some credit. He came from nowhere, and then he's built this career on TikTok. How, I don't know, because to me he's complete talentless, pseudo intellectual fool. Do you know what I mean? Well, but young people maybe thought he was brilliant, but I've listened to a few times him being interviewed talking about this, that, and the other, and you just think, oh my God, what a load of crap. he just talks a load of crap. But young people are impressed by things like that. And I'm sure Celeste was impressed by him because he was a singer and he had money and lived in the Hollywood Hills in a nice place, and he had a nice car. She didn't know she was going to end up in dead and dismembered in the front of his Tesla. Just makes you wonder how many times did she go in that car and think, oh, he's got a nice car. She didn't know she was going to end up in the front, cut up, did she? And it seems like, I think this is what's going to be presented at court, that she just became an inconvenience, because I think David then, he suddenly got really famous and he was taking off all over the place, had this massive tour planned. And suddenly, it also feels like, from things that have been released, there may have been an investigation already into David's relationship with Celeste. Did she threaten to go to the authorities? Did she find out he had other girls? And so I'm going to tell people about you. I mean, you just don't know what the final reason was that he murdered her. But he did, and so not only been accused of murder, but lying in wait is how the police have phrased it, and killing somebody, a witness in an investigation, which makes you think they were already investigating him. The other thing they've mentioned as special circumstances is, having sex with a minor and having these images now as well. So, he's in a lot of trouble. He's not likely to ever come out of prison unless is he going to say he was exposed to lead poisoning when he was young, and that's why, he'd probably come out with some crappy defense, I expect. He's a very cocky guy as well, I think. Hi, Moonbeam. Hi, Julie. Good morning. Exactly. We've all, there's not many of us who haven't got any mental health issues or had some trauma in our lives, or, something. I can't accept it, because I think it's insulting to people who have got mental health issues. They don't go off and RAP and murder kids, So when someone does do that, it doesn't matter what their mental health is, unless they are, an out and out, some people just literally are totally, off the wall mentally. But someone like David, he's nothing wrong with him, is there? He's built a successful career. He was clever enough to hide her body for quite a long time, though we don't really know what his intentions were. And my question as well is, I think, God, is he the most stupid criminal? He thinks he's so clever, but he's actually thick as mince, isn't he? Because how did he ever? Let's suppose he was under investigation for. Did he really think that murdering her then was the way to take the heat off him? So I don't know if if that's true. The police have said one of his charges, or the extra circumstances, are killing a witness in an investigation. So we've got to presume there was already some kind of investigation. So did he really think that by murdering her for her disappearing, that would stop that investigation? Is he really that thick? And is he really that thick that he literally, wrote about murder in his songs, wrote about Celeste, wrote about the afterlife, or his songs are, he's like, I don't think he's got a drug-addled brain, personally, because how could he think? Listen, if you are, most serial killers, they hide, they don't go out telling everyone they're a serial killer until after they're caught, do they? They don't go off writing songs about killing, and they normally just fit into society, don't they? Family men, and you know, he's just thick, isn't he? Anyway, I do think he's been costed all his life. He's probably been told how fabulous he is ever since he was a kid. He had this entourage of people. Other people would have known about Celeste. Everybody, apparently the house that he lived in was like a party house, wasn't it? There were people coming and going. There'll have been lots of people around him who would have known about Celeste. And maybe they'll come out and say, "Oh, we didn't realise she was only 14," because she does look a little bit older. But come on. And I don't believe for a minute either that this girl, let's have a closer look at her, I don't believe she was the only one. I'm 100% certain that David, if he had all those pictures on his phone, etc., I don't believe he was the only one. Maybe she found out he had other girls, and she got annoyed, She might only be young, but she wouldn't like that. A girl wouldn't like that, would they, if they found out that he'd been seeing other girls? And there she is with her little Mona Lisa smile. She never, ever, I haven't seen one photo of her where she's actually smiling broadly, like young girls do at her age normally. She's very reserved smiles, bless her. So anyway, it's funny because I'm often reminded of Celeste, because where I drop my son off for work, there are quite a lot of Moroccans live in that area. And the girls, when you see them walking past, a lot of them have this lovely hair, this sort of curly hair, long curly hair. And sometimes I'll be walking along, driving along, and I'll see a girl from the back with that lovely hair of Celeste. And I take a bit of a double take, and obviously I know it's not Celeste, but it makes me think of her immediately. Beautiful hair, just a young girl on the threshold of her life, and this twonk took it away from her with 2 penetrative wounds, apparently. So anyway, what we're going to look at in this video is a timeline that Steve Fisher, the private investigator, he's put together, and he put it as a tweet, out as a tweet. We're going to have a look at that. We're going to have a look at the lyrics of some of David's songs, which talk about murder and death. And I think, let me see, what have I done with that? Have we all seen? I'm sure you've all seen the photo of him in the white shirt covered in blood. What the heck is that all about? Here. Is he? He's sick. He thinks he's so clever, pretty thicko, to murder someone. And these are the sort of photos he's got out on his Instagram and everything. Him in a white shirt, bloody handprints on it. I mean, I don't know when that photo was taken, but it makes you wonder, is that Celeste's blood? And then, of course, he dismembered her. Well, somebody did. I mean, is he going to say he don't know what happened? 1 minute she was there, and then I went back and she was cut up into little pieces. No idea what happened, Your Honour. No, he's such a creepy guy, but do you know what? He was really, doing well. I don't understand it. I've watched his interviews, I've watched his performances. I think he's pretty crapo, but I could see how it might appeal to teenagers. This sort of, I don't know, sometimes young people sort of They find that sort of intriguing, don't they? Anyway, so I do it, I'm looking at it from if I'm a lot older and it's not aimed at me, obviously, and it wouldn't interest me at all. I just think, what a prat. Even if I didn't know about, even if I didn't know about Celeste, I would look at this guy and I would just think, what an idiot. Well, just look at that. I mean, what is that supposed to? I mean, do you know what? It's not even like, it's not like genuinely horrific, if you know what I mean, because he's got a little red dicky bow on. The white shirt, I don't know, it's like you can tell how pretentious it is. It doesn't look authentic. It's not like, I don't know, I've seen some music videos where people really live their character, and you believe their character, even in a short music video, but I wouldn't look at this and believe this character. He just looks like, as I say, some sort of weirdo sideshow Bob, just pretentious, but too clean, as well. So to be genuinely, it's not really genuinely horrific. But why did he do it? Has he been fantasizing about murder? So because some of the TikToks that I've found of his, they're quite disturbing. What did he kill Celeste with? Did he have weapons? I mean, he had an incinerator in his flat and a chainsaw, though they had not been used. What? I don't know. Now, he's only young himself, I suppose, if he's high as a kite on drugs most of the time, fantasizing about murder. I don't know, but why would he do it? And he had this big tour coming up. David had everything going for him. And you've got to give him credit that he had, made his way to be famous from nothing, just from TikTok. Didn't have a big record deal in the beginning or anything like it. Wasn't discovered. He built up his own following on TikTok and became famous. So you've got to give him credit for that. But why would he throw all that away? So in the meantime, of course, he's downloading child P on his phone, grooming young girls like Celeste. As I say, there's no way that Celeste is the only one, I don't think. So I think we'll start. Just going to read a couple of his lyrics. So this song, Romantic Homicide, I mean, what sort of a song is romantic homicide? What's romantic about homicide? His head for a long time, do you think? Anyway, let me just read it to you. I'm scared. It feels like you don't care. Enlighten me, my dear. Why am I still here? I don't mean to be complacent with the decisions you made, but why? In the back of my mind, you died, and I didn't even cry. No, not a single tear. And I'm sick of waiting patiently for someone that won't ever arrive, even arrive. Oh, oh, oh. Right, one sec. I've just remembered something I've got to do. Yeah, sorry about that. I had to put the hot water on, otherwise there'd be somebody wouldn't have any hot water for their shower. So I didn't even cry, no, not a single tear. And I'm sick of waiting patiently for someone who won't even arrive. Oh, oh, oh. In the back of my mind, I killed you, and I didn't even regret it. I can't believe I said it. But it's true. I hate you. Nice song. Romantic homicide, not I don't know what to make of this guy. Right, that's one song I just wanted to read out to you. Then called, where's it gone? Celeste. So he's actually got a song called Celeste. Baby, baby, I love you. So this was released in late December 2023, and it's supposedly named after a former partner of David's. Baby, baby, I love you. So this is what it's like to not need weed. Somehow I just knew he'd be a weed smoker. I love it when you hold me, when you cry, just because. Be my Valentine. I want to make Cupid suicidal. These are the kind of thoughts that cross my mind. Just because. I love you so much. I love you so much. Darling, I would love to ease your mind, but you only open up when you get high. If I had the money, I would buy us time just to get by, just to stay high. Now, don't forget Celeste had drugs in her, drugs in her system, but oh, Celeste, the girl with my name tattooed on her chest. Smell her on my clothes like cigarettes. I hear her voice each time I take a breath. I'm obsessed. Oh, Celeste, afraid you'll only love me when undressed, but you look so damn gorgeous in that dress. Missing you so much makes me depressed, but digress because I love you so much, baby. I love you so much. Now, another disturbing thing that I read, I didn't get the forensic report properly, but I read that they had matching tattoos, didn't they? Apparently, they had tattooed on their fingers, apparently. And I read that that finger where she had that tattoo had been removed. Does anybody else hear that? Um, so let's just remember what he did with this girl, or allegedly. Well, we're going to look at the timeline. We'll talk about that when we get to it, because she was months before she was discovered. Months. So what was she being? Where was she during that time? Where was she? Anyway, one more song that I just want to read out to you. And this song is what's the actual title of it? Afterlife. Afterlife. So this is another song. Now I don't think this one had been released because this is from his Withered album that was just about to come out, wasn't it? Something's missing from inside of me. Someone stole what wasn't mine. The devil told me you were good for me. My mother told me he would lie. What doesn't kill you waits for later. What tries to keep you alive fails. I thought a girl would make me happy. Real love is not for sale. So I'll buy what I can as I try to pretend. Something else is making me cry when you cross the line. I'm still by your side. I crossed it with you. And when I die, you're holding the knife. I will love you from the afterlife, from the afterlife, from the afterlife. I'll love you from the afterlife. What good is walking on water with a sinking feeling? What good is a kiss without meaning? It won't stop me from bleeding, but I'll buy what I can as I try to pretend something else is making me cry when you cross the line. I'm still by your side. I crossed it with you. And when I die, you're holding the knife. I will love you from the afterlife. From the afterlife, from the afterlife. I'll love you from the afterlife. Ooh, now, apparently, and I have got the video loaded up. When David sang that song recently, he broke down, apparently. But it just makes you wonder, doesn't it? Oh, I just want to show you this video. So this is one of his many weirdo videos. You know, this guy, this is what I mean about him being in plain sight. This guy is always talking about death, killing, homicide. You know, this is so people must have known about his, you know, this dark side of David. People must have known about it, but nobody, I don't know. I mean, he was probably surrounded by young people as well who, I don't know, just thought he was being pretentious, didn't really think, you know, would you, I don't know. Well, there's somebody there in this video. You can see somebody's arm here. Have a look at this. Come on, please. You know, just made me go cold that because I thought, what's that great big samurai sword thing he's got? Is that what you used to kill Celeste? Is all we know about Celeste. Two penetrative injuries, but was it that knife or something similar? Oh, it won't play again now. Anyway, nothing works properly. Oh, hang on. I'll get it to play one more time. Shh. Shh. No. Okay, never mind. So anyway, I think you saw it. So there he was with a pickaxe and a big samurai. God, I can't get my words out. Samurai sword. You know, making stabbing motions with the pickaxe. You know, this guy. I know it's all right with the benefit of hindsight to look back, but God. But how did he think he would get away with it? Did he really think? I think he thought Celeste didn't matter, that nobody would care where she was. I mean, I don't know what intentions he had of doing with her body. It seems like they just kept parking that car all around the neighborhood, kept moving it so it wouldn't attract attention. But in the end, somebody probably, you know, drugged up high as a kite, parked it in a place where it shouldn't have been parked. Maybe they even forgot where they parked it. That wouldn't surprise me, to be honest. You know, if they're like, you know, sort of teenagers, sometimes don't remember what they've done, even if they're not drugged up or high as a kite. So do you think that's a possibility that they just forgot where they parked it? Or was it parked there deliberately, that they just thought it would get towed away and crushed? That's a real mystery to me, how, you know, how he was so thick. I know he's thick, but how could he be so thick that they would just leave a cart with a body in it to be towed away? Why did he not bury Celeste somewhere? Because, well, that would be the logical thing to have done, wouldn't it? I'm not trying to, give people ideas, but I think it's obvious if you want to hide a body, you don't just leave it in a car on a public street, do you? I mean, you've got to be pretty thick to do that, I think. I think he is a complete thicko. He's probably, as I say, drug-addled brain. Anyway, we're going to have a look at the timeline. Let me find it. So, this is the timeline that Steve Fisher has put together. He's an investigator. He's a private investigator. He's had a lot to do with this case because he actually was employed by the landlord or landlady of David's house that he was renting, and that's how he knows, and that for that reason, that's how we know about the incinerator that was in David's house. And the chainsaw, because Steve Fisher, he saw it. He saw them himself. He went in there. The landlord, employed him as a private investigator, and he was in the house and he saw them. So he's putting together a timeline. Now it's what can I say? It's fluid. So he is adding it and changing to it when new information comes out. So this is David's public activity timeline. A factual record of singer David Anthony Burke, publicly visible movements, performances, press and social media posts between April the 21st and May the 22nd. So that's how far, so it's a month, covers a month. And this time frame brackets the dates Los Angeles County prosecutors have alleged in connection with the death of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. So it's important to remember this is only a month's timeline, but remember the police have now given a date that they think that Celeste was lured to her death, and I presume that's from phone records. Just can you imagine Celeste? I mean, maybe they'd had a little falling out. And Celeste was then, she gets this message from David. Oh, do you want to come round? Did they go and get her in the Tesla to take her round to the house? I wonder. Or did she have to make her own way there? Because, I mean, obviously she couldn't drive. She's only 14 years old. Wonder how she actually got round to his house. Anyway, this is what the police believe, and the police will have a reason for that. Probably a text message or something asking her to come round. And she was probably thinking, go and see David, because, she will have had her head turned by this man. Of course she will. And, it's funny because last night I got a text from an ex boyfriend, I suppose you would say. And he's like, one day I need to do a video about him. He's never changed. I've known him for over 20 years, and we've had relationship off and on. And he's never changed. He's still I realise, sends me a text out of the blue, and when you get into the conversation, nothing's changed. He's a total narcissist. Anyway, I won't go into all the details of that. Maybe in a members live I will. And it made me think of this, and because at first I thought, oh, that's nice. I haven't heard from him for ages. I hope he's okay. And it's always the same. Always starts off really nice. Oh, how are you? Blah 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 blah. And then within 15 minutes, it's like, all right, well, put her off because nothing's changed. So all the thing that you have to remember sometimes is why you split up from somebody, because really, unless they've changed completely, which is unusual, people don't change, do they? But he is, they are these love bombers. He's a bit like that. You hear from him and everything's nice, and oh, I've missed you so much, and you think, oh, and you get all this warm feeling, and then you realise that actually nothing's changed. It's still, the selfish he always was, and that's the reason why you left him in the first place. So, but with someone like, and that's someone of my advanced years, with the benefit of my experience, I'm still useless at it. But for Celeste, she's just a young girl. She probably, oh, thank God David's contacted me. Imagine she probably went round to his house, looking forward to it, looking forward to seeing him, looking forward to a little party maybe or whatever. And then there he was, lying in wait. That's what the police said, lying in wait. That's part of his special circumstances. So, important context. Los Angeles County prosecutors have alleged two key dates inside this window. On or about April the 23rd of the date of the alleged killing, and on or about May the 5th, the alleged dismemberment. So why, I don't know why they feel, the alleged murder is probably because they've got data of them inviting around. Why they think that the dismemberment happened on or around May the 5th, we don't know yet. The allegations are unproven. David entered a plea of not guilty. Yeah, we have to remember he's innocent, so proven guilty at his arraignment on April the 20th, and he is presumed innocent. This timeline is intended to provide factual context, not to assert guilt. Complied from publicly available news coverage, concert and ticketing databases, and timestamps embedded in David's own social media posts. So that's the sort of a little caveat. This is what Steve has put together. David is innocent until proven guilty. It's hard to remember that sometimes, but it's true, isn't it? So we should always, every now and again, I have to say that. So April the 21st, no publicly reported activity. David's Coachella weekend 2 sets ended the prior day in India, California, I presume that is. I might need my glasses here. Don't know where they are then. Well, I think I can read it if I move a bit closer. April the 22nd, BandLab announces 3-day David pop-up event in New York City. So what's the date that the police think? April the 21st, yeah. So that's the day after the police think that he killed Celeste. April the 23rd, prosecutors allege that Celeste Rivas Hernandez arrived the evening of April the 23rd at David's rented Hollywood Hills home and was last heard from on or about this date. And on that same day, Withered World Tour tickets enter pre-sale. And when I say when it says World Tour, it really was. He was due to come to Spain, Europe, America, etc. He had this massive tour booked, and that was the other thing the police mentioned, wasn't it? Under special circumstances, murder for financial gain. Something was brewing here, wasn't it? This is what you feel maybe Celeste had threatened to expose him. But maybe she'd found out about another girl, and so she was saying, "Oh, I'm going to go to the police about you." Now that video, I don't know if you've seen that video of the two of them. I might be able to find that in a minute to show you, where they were on a stream, on a live stream, and Celeste actually makes a reference to raping in kids. And David goes into a big panic and is like, right, erase that, erase everything, so maybe Celeste had just got a bit too big for her boots as far as David was concerned. Come on, Celeste, you can imagine she's supposed to be like the little girl that just, looks at him in awe for everything he does or says and never challenges anything, never questions anything. Had Celeste started thinking, oh, I am the girlfriend, and become, in his eyes, a little bit too big for her boots, trying to stop him seeing other girls or assuming that she is really his girlfriend, and David wouldn't have liked that, would he? Because David likes the control. Men that pick young girls like that, that's why they do it. Because they like young girls, because young girls are more compliant than older women of their own age or older. They won't put up with their crap, will they? Little girls, because they're not worldly, are they? Like older girls are. So David won't have liked being challenged. He won't have liked her thinking she had some control over him. He won't have liked that at all. Anyway, then on TikTok, he posted, "Your prayers have been answered. It's finally here," promoting the upcoming album release. So all this was after he had murdered that girl, allegedly. April the 24th, the Withered World Tour tickets were officially on sale. And he posted on Instagram and said that. On Twitch Live, so he's been banned from Twitch now. Apparently all his accounts have been taken off, but his Instagram is still up and his TikTok is still up. David streams on Twitch and the caption was, "Put the album in the bag, bro." And he was streaming from what appears to be a residential interior ahead of that evening's album release party. There you go. So he was streaming, "Put the album in the bag, bro." Or bro. I can't do a cool accent, but yeah, was that his house? Was Celeste in that house somewhere dead while he was posting this, bragging about his tour, trying to get people to, to buy tickets? Was Celeste there somewhere in that house? Gosh. Then he did a live appearance at 8 at the Withered album release party at the 100 Thieves compound in Los Angeles. Host text blast sent at 6:33 p.m. announced the party would kick off in 90 minutes. Guests were directed to enter through the parking lot to the left of the building. Then he travelled to, apparently, according to this timeline, travelled to LA, New York City overnight, inferred from the next day and New York City pop-up event. April the 25th was the album drop, Withered, Darkroom, Interscope released, and it debuted at number 13 on the Billboard 200. Now that's not bad, is it? For an album to come out and, straight away it's at number 13. And this is what I don't understand about this guy, why did he, I suppose he thought his career was jeopardized because of the investigation into him, going out with an underage girl. But he probably might have been able to survive that, to be honest, because do you know what? Stars do that all the time. Look at Elvis Presley. It wasn't Priscilla only 15 when he married her. Nobody ever really brings that up, do they, and calls him a PDF, do they? I think I know it's a different world that we live in today, but I think he could have ridden that out more, ridden it out more, that he was going out with an underage girl rather than, that he murdered an underage girl. That if not, he was going out with her, he murdered her and he dismembered her. He's not going to be able to ride that out, is he? So, again, just shows he's a complete thicko, really. Total thicko. Hi, David. Hope you're well. Yeah, that's it. I mean, do you know what? Years ago, Stars just got away literally with murder. He's not going to get away with this murder. But yeah, nobody ever really talks about Elvis, and he's not the only one. Quite a common thing, isn't it? Really, and we're finding out every day more and more. God, I'm frightened to all the people that you think that, like someone of my age, all the people that you liked when you were growing up, they're all they're all turned out to be monsters. You think, oh God, I used to like watching them, or I used to like that program, or I used to like this, or I used to like that. And now you're just finding out that they were all bloody PDFs and all at it, weren't they? So, nowadays, at least you get to know about it, I suppose. I don't know, because of social media and that, people can't keep things secret so much, can they? Like they used to, they were always. That's another case as well that's doing my head in at the moment. There's so many, it's very depressing, everything at the moment. But look at Russell Brand. I mean, I've got to say, I never liked Russell Brand. He has always given me the creeps. I never understood what girls saw in him, because a lot of women like him. Then, of course, he married Katy Perry. I never understood what she saw in him. Now it turns out that she supposedly assaulted someone years ago, wasn't it? I think Katy Perry, it wouldn't surprise me because she likes a drink or drugs or whatever. A lot of it is from drinking drugs, I think, that people, when they get famous, they lose control, don't they? They completely lose control of everything. They think can do whatever they want. But Russell Brand, oh my God! So he's turning up at the court with a Bible. So, but then he's got like, his shirt unbuttoned down, showing off his hair. When he does, like, I can't even bear to watch his videos because he quite often is exposing too much of his body. I don't want to look at his horrible chest and hair. It's not to me. Well, I wouldn't want to look at anybody doing that. I'd rather see him in a nice suit or something. Yeah, it just gives me the absolute creeps. And now he's been on, was it the Megyn Kelly shows, admitting, that he slept with a 16-year-old when he was 30, but it's legal in the UK, and he was very immature then. He was 30, fuck's sake. Different if you sleep with a 16-year-old if you're only 17, I suppose. I don't know, but doesn't matter if it's legal or not. Anyway, it's not about whether it's legal, it's about whether it's ethical. And of course, that young girl who has also spoken out about Russell Brand, she describes it not as having sex, but actually rape, but he's trying to make out, oh, it was just a legitimate. So, yeah, he's another sicko, isn't he? Absolute sicko. Oh, Moonbeam. Moonbeam's got a signed book from Russell Brand. Maybe you'll be able to sell that when he goes to prison. I don't know if I've told you this story, but I had a student who, was it her brother? Yeah, she had a falling out with her brother over their parents' inheritance. And yeah, where money is always an issue, isn't it? Anyway, so it's something to do with the parents' inheritance. their inheritance from their parents, and he did my student out of some of her share of the inheritance. And you know what he did with that money? He invested it in Rolf Harris paint. He bought a load of Rolf Harris paintings, obviously before Rolf Harris was, convicted for being a PDF. So the money that he'd sort of stolen from my student, really, because it was money she should have had, he invested it in paintings, Rolf Harris paintings. So you can imagine that they're probably not worth much nowadays, or maybe they are, because maybe they are worth a lot, because he's dead now, of course, hasn't he? He's died, so they could have. But that talk about karma. When you talk about karma, that's a bit of instant karma, isn't it? Really, ill-gotten gains. You steal money from someone and invested it in Rolf Harris paintings. That'd be like, I don't know. I can't think of something similar, but yeah, be like investing it in something to do with Andrew, formerly known as Prince, or oh God, just like just. I mean, it did make me laugh because I just thought that is such poetic justice, isn't it? We like to see a bit of karma, don't we? Okay, sorry, I've forgotten where I was up to now. So yeah, on April the 25th, yeah, his album debuted on the Billboard 200 at number 13, straight in at number 13. And don't forget, although he was getting more and more famous, he wasn't, as big as he would have been maybe a year later. I mean, people are downloading his songs and things even now, of course, but he's infamous now is probably more appropriate than famous, isn't it? I wonder if he'll end up in prison, like, writing songs like and performing like Johnny Cash in San Quentin or whatever. What's he going to be? Apparently, he's been segregated in prison for his own safety, I suppose, because he's a public figure. Yeah. Well, he's not going to meet any young girls in prison, is he? He's not going to meet any girls, probably, but certainly not any young girls. So then he did a live appearance in a pop-up in New York Union Square with BandLab or something. In-person fan meet and greet, stripped down acoustic set group photo opportunity. Then a live debut, Afterlife, performed live for the first time at the pop-up acoustic set, and David visibly breaks down crying mid-song. Notes on dating. Most online aggregations date the Surface clip April the 26th. It's my dad's birthday. Because that's when the widely shared Instagram reel went up. However, the same performance had already been posted to TikTok the prior evening. A fan account clip went up on April the 25th, 16 hours earlier. A clip cannot exist before its filming, which means that the performance itself happened on April the 25th. This also matches BandLab's published programming. Day 1, April the 25th, was the scheduled acoustic performance. Day 2, April 26th, was a non-performance creator workshop. The visual setting in the screenshot: red metal chair, yellow acoustic guitar held by an accompanying guitarist. David wordmark on the pink Union Square pop-up matches the April the 25th acoustic stage. And 2 days later, Afterlife became the closer of his April the 27th Houston album release show, performed twice. So yeah, this is a screenshot from the video, but he apparently broke down in tears Now, I had that somewhere, but do you know, when I have things set up, quite often they disappear. Let's see if I can find it. Poor Celeste. So when I look down, I'm just looking through Twitter about David. Oh, actually, I'm going to show this in a minute. I'm going to show some things on X in a moment. Just put some other things down. I think I'll finish. Let me finish this timeline thing. So then on TikTok, he posted "Mine is friend again, say it back," and ghost. His TikTok is rubbish. I looked at his TikTok and I thought, oh my God. You know, I say it's rubbish. I mean, people obviously liked it. He's got millions of followers, but to me, it's rubbish. So April the 26th, Van Lab and David Pop-Up Day 2 Creator Workshop and Question and Answer. The aftermath, a wider Instagram reel of the previous evening's Afterlife's debut surfaces and goes viral. April 27th, travel to New York, Houston. Oh, we went from New York to Houston for an evening hometown show, live appearance at the White Oak Music Hall, Houston, which was a near sellout, apparently. And New York City Pop-Up Day 3 hosts a live stream watch party of the Houston show, and he put on 2 posts on TikTok. April the 28th, he went from Houston back to New York for a Brooklyn show. No posts found on his social media. April 29th, Brooklyn Steel Show. His family were on stage. I wonder what his family make of it all. You know, I do feel for his family as well, because, you know, I'm sure they wouldn't have believed that their little Johnny would do something like this. He put a TikTok post on his own account on that day, April 29th. April 30th, he put 4 TikTok posts up. May the 1st, no post found, no public appearance. May the 2nd, no post found, no public appearance. May the 3rd, no post found, no public appearance. Wonder if that's when he was, you know, cutting Celeste up. May the 4th, nothing. Then May the 5th, this is the alleged date that prosecutors allege that Celeste was mutilated. So it seems like, I wonder if in between sort of May the 1st and May the 5th, when there were no posts, is that when he was busy trying to sort out what he was going to do with Celeste? Anyway, and on that date he posted an Instagram story. Oh my God, chat, should I get these? And he put up a photo of these surfboards. Now, he was obsessed with Hello Kitty. I mean, what? He was obsessed with Hello Kitty. One of these surfboards has got Hello Kitty on it. I'm not sure what's on the other one. He's like a child in his head, isn't he? You know, I know he's not that old, but he is 21. He will have been 20 then, probably. What's he obsessing over Hello Kitty for? Anyway, then he put on a TikTok post. May the 6th, no posts, no public appearance, etc. May the 7th, 1 TikTok post. May the 8th, nothing. May 9th, May 10th, May 11th. No posts, no public appearances, no social own account social posts. Then on May the 2nd, he put up 2 TikTok posts. May the 13th, sorry, the 12th, May the 12th, May the 13th, Take Notes podcast episode 155. That was a press thing. TikTok, sorry mum for posting your fail, but this is too funny, I love you. And he implied that he was actually with his mum at the time. May the 14th, nothing. May the 15th, he travelled from the USA to Korea, to Seoul in South Korea. And he was in the country from May the 21st. And on May the 21st, he performed in Korea. And on Instagram, he posted. So this was the start of this big tour. May the 22nd, another live appearance in Seoul in Korea, South Korea. And he posted on TikTok, I met boy next door, farmer near meow too. Makes no sense to me whatsoever. So that's as far as it's got so far with this timeline. So what Steve Fisher is doing, and he's asking for anyone who can help in any way, if anyone's got any information about David's activity, because his intention is to put a full timeline together. So this must be his website, Steve Fisher's website. Let's have a look where it says about. There you go. Number one missing persons investigator in the country, bringing missing persons home and providing resolution for families. These cases. I don't know if you have to. Active and resolved missing persons cases. Yeah. Now I know he solved quite a lot of cases. He was involved briefly in the Sebastian Rogers case. So these are all the services that they provide: missing persons, kidnapping and abductions. Perhaps Savannah Guthrie should employ him to try and find out what's happened to Nancy. Runaways, custodial interference, human remains recovery, mental health cases, and drone technology. Yeah, he's an interesting guy. I like following him. He doesn't do YouTube. He hasn't got a YouTube channel, but he's an interesting guy. I always follow him on X because interesting things come up. Let's have a little look at David's Instagram, which, as I say, his Instagram's still up, his TikTok is still up. I don't know how long that will stay up for. You'd think somebody would take it down, but I don't know. Still there. So yeah, it's all, in my opinion, everything he does is pretentious, just like, look, so did he have Australia on his list as well? Let's see what he's, look, there he is with a big Hello Kitty mascot. Whatever, David. Look, his profile picture on Instagram is Hello Kitty. Whatever. And this was the tour that he was supposed to be doing. Yeah, he's with the tour. North America, Europe. Yeah, so that wasn't to happen. And is this tour the reason that Celeste was killed? Was she putting his superstardom in jeopardy, maybe? Seems to me that probably she was. Something obviously had happened between them. As I say, I think she, in his eyes, I'm saying, I think she'd probably got a little bit too big for her boots as far as he's concerned. She was trying to take the control. I'm a victim of my own success. Well, you know what, David? That's what happens when you prey on underage girls. Look at him there with his nail varnish on, whatever. You prey on young girls. Look at this picture here. It looks like he's dead there. It looks like he's got blood all over him. He's obsessed with blood, and he's in the meantime he's preying on young girls. As I say, not only Celeste grooming young girls, he's got child porn on his phone. Some of them might have been Celeste. You know, maybe he took pictures of her. And he's probably tried to delete them, a bit like Stefan Stearns. Oh yeah, delete all that. Oh, they'll never find that. What a thicko. And yeah, so openly on his Instagram, he's got all these weird photos, you know, of him in that shirt covered in blood and stuff. You know, he's like, you know, this guy's hiding in plain sight. He's a predator hiding in plain sight. He's so thick. He's practically catalogued his own depravity, hasn't he, really? You know, what a thicko. Anyway, I'm glad he's a thicko. Let's have a look at this. See if you can see this video. Now, this was the video. Oh, hang on. I think you can hear me okay now. You can hear me okay? This was the video. I'm going to try and play it. Hopefully it'll play. Of him and Celeste on stream together. Oh, I think it's just this a screenshot. It's not the actual video. Let's have a look down. Oh, poor Celeste. So I'm just trying to find the video, but I can't find it anyway. He looks different now, doesn't he? He's definitely changed his appearance. Oh, actually, I'm going down comments, not posts. Let's see. I saw last night on my phone. I watched an interview that I wanted to with David, where he was going. Well, it was a TikTok video where he was going on about God and this, that, and the other, talking a load of word salad. And I wanted to show that, but I couldn't find it. Oh dear! Once something's gone, trying to find it then is a nightmare. I should have bookmarked it, because on my phone. Oh yeah, this is an interesting one. This is an animated music video that he released 2 years before he killed her. So this man, he had a lot of dark intentions. Look at this. Let's make it bigger. Turn the sound down. This is an animated video that he released 2 years. Look at that. Again, he's got that samurai sword type thing. I wonder if that's what he killed her with. Look. He'd been fantasizing about that for 2 years. He seems to have an obsession with swords. I won't be surprised if when it comes out that's what he's killed her with, sadly. He's obviously been thinking about that. Oh, and this is him crying while he's performing Afterlife. Yeah. So was he thinking about... I'm turning the sound down because YouTube will pick up on the music. But yeah, he was performing Afterlife and he broke down in tears. And this was after he had killed her, so... Gosh. So if you want to... you think, what, if you want to really put your heart and soul into something, actually do it. I mean, to me, I just thought, how did he think he was going to get away with it? Obviously, I'm glad he hasn't got away with it, but why? What was going on in his head? If he's supposed to be clever, or he thinks he's clever, doesn't he? But he obviously isn't clever. How? Just what was she still doing in that car? Why had he not disposed of the body? It was months later. So he's a complete thicko, basically. Total thicko. Apart from being a weirdo and a psycho and all the other O's that he is, he's a thicko. And he deserves everything that's coming to him. And it'd be interesting to see what the defence comes up with, won't it? What will the defence come up with? And I think the reason that it took so long to have him, to arrest him, is because the prosecution are determined, aren't they? The prosecution were determined to get all their ducks in a row, cross their T's, dot their I's. They didn't want anything to go wrong with this prosecution. So that's why it's taken so long, because they've been meticulously, preparing their evidence to bring justice for Celeste. What a thicko. Thicko, psycho, weirdo. He's every O you could imagine, isn't he? Every O you can think of, David is it. But he thinks he's all the good things, he thinks he's clever. As you say, Julie, what sort of world are we living in? Because the thing is as well, what with this case and the Nancy, so again, we've got two opposites in ages there. Celeste, 13, 14, vulnerable for a youth. And then, of course, we still don't know what happened to Nancy Guthrie. She was vulnerable because of her advanced age. That case in the UK of that baby, that was a baby. The juries had to be dismissed in that case of the baby that was adopted. I can't even talk about it because I'll just break down. But the jury has been dismissed. They probably can't. How are they going to find a jury to? Because apparently there's a video of that baby and what happened to him. How are they going to find a jury that can stomach that, to sit through that? How are they going to do it? I mean, they've got to sooner, and I hope they do find someone strong enough, because, that baby needs justice. So there's got to be a court case sooner or later. Though personally, I hope the people that have done that to him, who's supposed to be his adoptive parents. I really do hope for prison justice for them. I really do, because that is the lowest of the low, what they've done. And then of course we've got Athena Strand in America. That's another case, vulnerable because of her age, at a young age. So yeah, it's all a bit depressing at the moment, more depressing than normal. I mean, it's always pretty depressing, isn't it? The world of true crime, of course, but it just seems even more depressing at the moment. You know, just anyway. But there you go. But the good news is, of course, this guy is behind bars. He isn't coming out. I mean, all right, he's innocent until he's proven guilty. He's probably got quite a lot of money now, so he's probably thinking he can throw money at this case and hope his defence can come up with something. Hopefully they can't. And he won't be popular. I mean, as I say, he's been segregated for his own safety at the moment. But I don't think that would last forever, would it? I mean, after if he gets convicted, surely eventually he's got to go into the general prison population. There'll be people out to get him unless they put him in the prison population with people like Stephen Stearns. Wonder how he's getting on in prison. He's in prison for the rest of his life, probably still ringing up his mum and dad asking for money for sweets. What's he doing with his life? He's never even admitted guilt, has he? So, dear me, it's a similar case, really, I suppose, if you think about it. Stephen Stearns, in a way, was worse because he was, to all intents and purposes, Madeleine's stepdad. So she should have been, safe with him. David is a groomer, deliberately groomed a young girl, and then when she became inconvenient to him, he got rid of her. Anyway, you'll all let me know what you think. I think this is a case that I think we're probably all in agreement with, that he is likely to be found guilty. But, it's never guaranteed, is it? So we have to wait and see. I don't know if this is a trial that will be televised. Now, as I say, I've been watching the Athena Strand case. Not all the time, but every now and again. But, God, I don't know how her parents must feel sat in that same room as that man who did what he did to their daughter. Oh my God. That's a horrible case, isn't it? So just want to get it over with. He has pled guilty, of course. He has pled guilty, but I presume they're still having the courts. They're deciding whether to give him the death penalty or not. So. Okay. So have a good day, or evening, or night, wherever you are in this mad world. I'll see you really soon in the next video. Listen, thank you so much for caring about Celeste. You get the feeling with Celeste, who did care about her, really? I mean, I'm sure her family care about her. She was described as a troubled teen, wasn't she? But most teens are troubled, really, aren't they? I hope, I don't know what her family life was like, or are some people more susceptible to getting lured astray like she was because of their family situation? I don't know, but I'm sure her family are heartbroken about what's happened to her. Anyway, okay. Look after yourself, and I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, may your God go with you. Bye.